On a frozen night in February 1959, deep in the Ural Mountains of Soviet Russia, 9 young hikers vanished into history. What they left behind was a trail of confusion, fear, and mystery so chilling that it continues to haunt investigators and storytellers to this very day. This is not just a tragedy, it is one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. The story begins with Igor Dyatlov, a bright 23-year-old engineering student from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. He carefully organized a winter expedition for 10 students and graduates, each experienced in skiing and mountaineering. Their goal was to reach Ural Mountain, a remote peak whose very name in the native Mansi language meant "don't go there." On January 25, 1959, the group departed by train, their laughter echoing in the station. They carried skis, cameras, journals, and food supplies for weeks. Among them were Zinaida Kolmogorova, a cheerful 22-year-old, and Rustam Slobodin, a strong athlete. Each hiker brought determination, but none could foresee the fate awaiting them in the icy wilderness. As they traveled deeper into the wilderness, the students switched from train to bus, then to horse-drawn sleds. They joked, sang songs, and took photos to document their journey. The weather grew harsher, the forests thicker, yet their spirits remained high for them. This was an adventure, an expedition to test their endurance and skill against nature's extremes. One member, Yuri Yudin, fell and had to turn back early. His decision spared his life. Tearfully, he hugged his friends goodbye, unaware it would be the last time he ever saw them. Yudin would later become the only survivor, living with haunting questions about what happened to his 9 companions on that fateful journey. By January 31st, the group reached the edge of the highlands. They prepared for the final ascent toward Ural. The hikers stored surplus supplies in a wooden cache to lighten their load for the mountain climb. Their journals reflected excitement and determination, even as heavy snow and strong winds tested their strength with every passing hour. On February 1st, the group began their climb toward the pass between Ural and Kolitsyakal, a mountain whose name means dead mountain. Harsh winds howled, blizzards battered the slopes, and visibility dropped dangerously low. Instead of turning back, they decided to camp on the slope itself, perhaps to practice emergency survival skills for the expedition. That night, in their canvas tent pitched on the snow-covered slope, the hikers made dinner, joked, and wrote in their journals. Photographs from that evening show smiling faces. They had no idea it would be the last night they would ever share together, under the cold gaze of the silent mountain and the storm above. When the group failed to send expected telegrams, concern grew. Families alerted the university, and by February 20th, a search party was launched. At first, volunteers combed the forests. Later, soldiers and aircraft joined the hunt. The vast wilderness was merciless. Snowdrifts, freezing winds, and endless trees made the search painfully slow. On February 26th, rescuers discovered the abandoned campsite. The hikers' tent stood half buried in snow, oddly slashed open from the inside. Boots, coats, and equipment lay neatly arranged, as if the group had fled in panic. No footprints of attackers were found, only the hikers' own tracks leading down toward the forest below. Following the tracks, searchers soon found signs of struggle and despair. Near a cedar tree, the bodies of Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko were discovered. They wore little clothing, their hands burned, as if they had tried to climb the tree or start a fire to survive. Fear and confusion gripped the rescue team. Soon after, investigators located 3 more bodies: Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin, scattered between the cedar and the tent. They seemed to have been crawling back toward their campsite, as though desperately trying to return. Each wore little clothing, some missing shoes, suggesting they had fled the tent without proper preparation against the cold. But the remaining 4 hikers were missing for months. Only in May, when the snow melted, were their bodies finally found in a ravine, buried beneath several feet of snow. They lay far from the others, as if they had attempted to build shelter. Strange injuries marked their discovery, sparking decades of speculation and theories. One of the most baffling details was the tent itself. Experts concluded that it had been cut open from the inside, as though the hikers had slashed their way out in haste. Yet why would trained mountaineers abandon their only protection in a snowstorm? Stepping into deadly cold without shoes, jackets, or gloves. Even stranger, some clothing carried traces of radiation. Investigators never explained how it got there. Photographs recovered from cameras inside the tent showed blurred lights in the sky. Adding to the mystery, was it evidence of a natural phenomenon, secret military tests, or something far more mysterious that terrified the group that night? Autopsies revealed unusual injuries. Some victims showed signs of blunt force trauma, while others had broken ribs or skull fractures, yet there were no external wounds consistent with an attack. Theories began to multiply: avalanche, secret weapons, infrasound, or something unearthly, but none could fully explain all the strange details. The official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers died from an unknown compelling force. With little evidence and much secrecy, the case was quietly closed. Files were locked away. Rumors silenced. Families received no real answers. Only grief, but the mystery of Dyatlov Pass refused to stay buried beneath the snow. Years later, Yuri Yudin, the lone survivor, spoke about his haunting memories. He recalled the warmth of his friends, their laughter, and their determination, until his death in 2013. Yudin lived with survivor's guilt, endlessly wondering what truly happened to the people he once called his closest companions. Locals from the Mansi tribe offered eerie insight. They spoke of the mountain's cursed reputation, a place where hunters feared to tread. Some whispered that the hikers disturbed sacred ground. Others believed spirits of the mountain had driven them into madness. Such tales blurred the line between folklore and fact, deepening the enigma. The avalanche theory suggested that snow collapsed onto the tent, forcing the hikers to cut their way out. But critics noted the slope was too shallow, and the tent was still partially standing. Decades of studies failed to prove an avalanche could explain the strange injuries, scattered bodies, and the panic-driven flight into darkness. Another possibility was military testing. Some suggest the hikers stumbled upon secret Soviet experiments, perhaps parachute mines or radiation weapons. Flashes of light in the sky recorded in diaries seemed to match reports of glowing orbs, but no official documents confirm military activity in the area during that winter. A more natural theory points to infrasound, low-frequency vibrations caused by wind passing over the mountain. Scientists propose these vibrations may induce panic, disorientation, and irrational behavior. Could an invisible wave of sound have terrified the hikers, driving them to flee the tent in confusion, only to meet their fate in the snow? Some believe the hikers witnessed something they weren't supposed to: strange lights, unknown aircraft, or even extraterrestrial activity. The blurred photographs, glowing orbs in the sky, and unexplained radiation fed these theories, while mainstream science dismisses such claims. The idea of an otherworldly encounter still fascinates believers to this day. Conspiracy theories also spread. Was the group mistaken for spies? Could they have been attacked by secret agents or escaped prisoners? Yet search teams found no sign of outsiders. No footprints except the hikers' own. The mystery deepens because every possibility seems to collapse under the weight of unanswered questions. Despite decades of research, documentaries, and books, no theory explains everything. The cut tent, the missing shoes, the scattered bodies, the strange injuries, the radiation, and the lights in the sky form a puzzle too complex to solve. Each clue leads only to further uncertainty, drawing investigators into endless speculation. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, focusing again on natural causes. Their new conclusion was avalanche, yet many experts remain unconvinced, arguing that the physical evidence and survivor testimonies do not fit this explanation. For many, the avalanche theory feels like a convenient way to close the case once more. What makes the Dyatlov Pass incident so haunting is its human element. These were young, ambitious students, full of dreams. Their journals show humor, songs, and plans for the future. To this day, photographs of their smiling faces against the snowy backdrop remind us of the life and joy tragically cut short. The frozen campsite has since become a place of airy pilgrimage. Adventurers and investigators still visit the pass, searching for answers where the snow hides its secrets. The mountain, silent and cold, stands as a monument to the unanswered questions left in the wake of 9 lost lives. Over 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains a mystery without resolution. Was it nature's fury, military secrecy, psychological panic, or something beyond human understanding? Each theory holds fragments of truth, yet none bring peace. Instead, the case lives on as a chilling reminder of the unknown. The Dyatlov Pass incident has inspired films, books, and countless debates. But behind the mystery lies tragedy, families who never found closure, and a nation left in silence. As long as snow covers those mountains, the questions will linger, echoing like whispers through the frozen winds of Siberia. Some theorists suggest a paradoxical explanation: multiple causes working together. Minor avalanche forced the hikers out, infrasound triggered panic, and hypothermia sealed their fate. Perhaps no single factor explains everything, but rather a chain of events where nature, fear, and chance intertwine to create an unforgettable disaster. Others argue we may never know the full truth. Documents remain missing, evidence was poorly preserved, and Soviet secrecy buried countless details. What remains are fragments, photographs, diaries, memories of one survivor, and endless speculation. The Dyatlov Pass may forever guard its secrets beneath layers of ice and silence. But the mystery still burns brightly in popular culture. Every few years, new documentaries, articles, and studies emerge, each claiming fresh insight. Yet the story always circles back to the same haunting question: what force, known or unknown, was strong enough to drive 9 skilled hikers to their tragic end? Whether it was avalanche, experiment, folklore, or something far stranger, the Dyatlov Pass incident endures as a chilling riddle. Each theory may comfort some, yet none erase the knees. The barren slope, the cut tent, the missing shoes, every detail lingers like a shadow, a puzzle piece that refuses to fit. So now we turn to you. After hearing the evidence, the theories, and the unanswered questions, what do you believe truly happened in the Dyatlov Pass? Was it a natural disaster, human error, or an encounter with the unknown? The truth may be lost to time, but the mystery remains waiting for your answer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel for more.